Prepare to get gas because it's time for the Week in Gear! This week, Fender proves that they can innovate, Gibson proved that they don't listen to their customers, and Neural DSP, well, they made a feature-stripped version of the Quad Cortex. This week is sponsored by Pedaltrain. More about them in a bit. Let's kick off this week's most exciting guitar gear releases with that Nano Cortex. Neural DSP are one of those companies that put themselves at the forefront of guitar processing technology, and now they're trying to appeal to the more budget-conscious players by releasing their new digital amp, cab, and effects processor called the Nano Cortex. This pedal aims to give you some of the cool features of the Quad Cortex, but in a smaller and cheaper format. So, what can it do? Well, let me tell you. Firstly, it can capture snapshots of any of your existing gear and rigs by plugging the gear into the Nano Cortex and holding down the capture button. So if you found the perfect setting on your priceless Klon and rare amp from the 1900s, then you don't want to take it to a gig, do you? So you just capture that on the Nano Cortex and take that digital print of that sound instead. It's also an audio interface, and of course you can use it for silent practice with that rig that would otherwise would be really loud. It's got stereo outputs, there's an expression pedal and MIDI TRS input, there's headphone out of course, and USB-C for connecting to your computer. There's also a dual input XLR and jack socket for the capturing thing that I just mentioned. Now all this sounds fine and dandy, but the internet is not happy, as even though they've cut the cost of a floor-based Neural DSP pedal to under 600 notes, they've not gone far enough, but also gone too far by removing maybe too many of the features that people love about the Quad Cortex. Now, I've only played the Quad Cortex for a few minutes, and I really enjoyed the sounds. I love going through the menus and wondering what it all does and confusing myself. And I can say that the tones I've heard from this Nano Cortex are very convincing to the ear. And I think that it's the same processing as the Quad Cortex. I'm not sure, if I'm honest, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But this is a very tricky price point to win over with so much else on the market, such as the Tonex and Ampero 2, and even the aging Line 6 HX Stomp. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit out of my depth here, but I do agree with the people that point out that there are more featureful competing products at cheaper prices. I've done some of the Neural DSP plugins. I've just not spent enough time with the Quad Cortex to really give you an opinion on this. No. I thought maybe I was frightened of being contrary, but I'm not. It's just that I don't really have an opinion. It seems like the Quad Cortex and Nano Cortex doesn't exist for me. That's weird. That feels unfair. But anyway, the biggest online gripe seems to be that you can't load plugins into this. And Neural DSP plugin owners, like me, but not like me, I don't want this, but the plugin owners that are complaining seem to want to use a floorboard device rather than taking a laptop and audio interface to a show. And that makes total sense. But here's a suggestion that seems so obvious, it might be really stupid. If that's what you want, to get the sound of your plugins, because you have a sound that you really love, and that's the sound you want to use at a gig, but you don't want to take a laptop and audio interface, then why not connect your audio interface to the capture input of the Nano Cortex and capture those sounds into the Nano Cortex? Is that so simple that it's dumb? I'm sure that Neural DSP has thought this through, and you have, haven't you, Neural DSP? I don't know if you watch my channel. You've ignored my emails. The Nano Cortex is now available at all good music stores and some bad ones. If you do subscribe to the digital modeler or plugin world, then what are you listening to your guitar through? Well, IK Multimedia have a very portable solution for you in the iLoud micro monitor, which just came through the door before I started recording this video. There it is. Wow, super light. These ultra compact speakers only weigh the same as an average short-tailed mongoose and are about as tall as a banana that's about 20 centimeters tall. And they're designed to give you an accurate representation of your sound in any space. Pop that down for a minute. They can go down to 50 hertz and have a 109 decibel maximum peak SPL at 1 meter. And if none of those numbers mean anything to you, just know that they go really low and deep, and they go really loud as well. The iLoud Micro Monitor Pro can also emulate other famous speakers to see what your mix would sound like through different rigs. And when I say mix, I also mean guitar sound. They've got built-in ARC, which is Advanced Room Correction, and they're self-calibrating so that even if your room is not acoustically treated, or if you're moving from place to place, or you're whatever, in your car, in your living room, in your caravan if you're on holiday, you can get a trustworthy, predictable sound. Two of my main speakers that I record in this room with are the IK Multimedia iLoud MTMs. And even though I've taken those out on location, they're small, but they're still just a bit too big for me to cart them around. So I don't do it as much as I should. However, I will be taking these on the road with me to test them out. And these will set you back around 300 notes per speaker, or they come as the pack, which includes the calibration microphone for about double the price. Squeaky box. While 300 and 600 notes may seem like a lot of money, if you're serious about recording or monitoring your digital rig, and you should take that part of the signal chain very seriously, then this is less money than most people will spend on studio monitors. I would compare it to having a quality chair in the office that has lumbar support, or a quality mattress for the bedroom, or something else that's comfortable, or you spend a bit more money on to make sure that you are in comfort. Spoken like a man over the age of 40. Oh my goodness. As you can probably guess, I will be testing these speakers when I visit Guitar Summit in Germany next week, and I'll be mixing some of those videos in the hotel room on the speakers. So, if those videos sound terrible, you know who to blame. And if they sound great, you know who to give the credit for. Oh, by the way, because it's Guitar Summit next week, it also does mean there'll be no TWIG. So you might just have to watch this episode twice. That'll be all right, won't it? I'm sure you'll be fine, because now it's time to talk about our sponsor, Pedaltrain. Pedaltrain boards are strong and light because they're made from hand-welded aircraft-grade aluminium. Does this mean your pedal board can fly? Well, no, but a nano-sized board can fit in your hand luggage, and if you go for the Terra 42, the sky's the limit. Whatever your pedal board needs are, Pedaltrain will have something to suit you. Check them out at the link below. Lovely. Now, this is the part where I say, if you're enjoying this weekly show, then there could be others that would enjoy it too. So share it with that friend who always seems to say, you know, friend, I've got too much money and I don't know what to spend it on. Send them my way and Andy will sort them out for you. It's 2024 and Gibson have reimagined the Gibson Les Paul Studio, and they are calling it the One. Last week, I was called out for being unfair to Gibson, and I was even called a Gibson hater. So, to fix that, let's take a completely neutral look at the specifications of the new Gibson Les Paul Studio. Here are the specs. The Gibson Les Paul Studio has a carved plain maple cap on a weight-relieved mahogany body. Glued into that mahogany body is a slim taper mahogany neck with binding, a rosewood fretboard, trapezoid inlays, medium jumbo frets, and a Graphtec nut. The tuners are Gibson Vintage Deluxe with keystone buttons. There's an aluminum Nashville Tunematic bridge and a stop bar. The pickups are Burstbucker Pros with 2 tone knobs, coil taps on the 2 volume pots, and a 3-way switch. Also included in the price is a soft shell case and a Gibson accessory kit. This guitar is available in 4 nitrocellulose finishes: ebony, wine red, cherry burst, and blueberry burst. And that is the end of this segment on the Gibson Les Paul Studio. Thank you. See, wasn't that better? No snarky comments, just the facts, as the people last week complaining asked for. I'm sure it was very entertaining. But before we move on, Here are 4 things that I may have said about the new Les Paul Studio, but I decided not to say them in case I upset those people that were unhappy with last week's comments about the Gibson Victory. This is for educational purposes only, and these views do not represent the... They do. It's me. It's just me. Number 1. A Les Paul with neck binding but no body binding is like seeing a man wearing a fancy shirt and tie with no trousers. Classy up top, questionable down below. Number 2. The One. It's bold of Gibson to assume that I won't need a backup when this thing goes out of tune after one song. Number 3. A Les Paul Studio, because who doesn't love the idea of paying premium prices for fewer features? Number 4. Ah, yes, the Blueberry Burst, because if there's one thing guitars have been missing, it's the essence of a fruit smoothie. So, just to be clear, those are things that I might have said if I was allowed to, and let myself run free, but I won't say them because of the people that complained. Here are some things that I will say. The point of the Gibson Les Paul Studio is to offer the sound of a Les Paul without a hefty price tag. That's why it's called the Studio. Sound over looks. The finishes were always less exciting, and the model had all the bells and whistles sonically, but removed the aesthetic choices that cost more. So why has Gibson added binding to the necks on these? And why is there a cherry burst and a blueberry burst? This guitar shouldn't be called the One. It should be called the Y. Are these more affordable than a Gibson Les Paul Standard? Yes, but they're still the best part of over 1,500 notes. There are so many great single cut options out there at less than this price that I don't think this guitar makes much sense unless you want to have Gibson on the headstock. An alternative obvious choice is an inspired by Gibson Epiphone, which can be bought for half the price of the Les Paul Studio. Or, in my opinion, a used Les Paul Studio that has Gibson on the headstock and is in great condition. It's going to be cheaper. Also, in my opinion, the only reason Gibson have added these features to the new Les Paul Studio is so that sales of these don't eat into the sales of other Gibson and Epiphone models. At this price, I don't think the Gibson Les Paul Studio makes much sense. So why is it that I still want one? If you've never looked at a tin of tuna and thought, that's a fuzz pedal, then you probably don't work for Beetronics. Beetronics' new Tuna Fuzz is exactly what it sounds like. It's a one-knob fuzz pedal built into a tuna can, and it sounds like this. What's new about this fuzz, apart from the fact that it's built into a can of fish, is that it's available for only 99 notes. This is entry-level pricing for Beetronics, and if you've ever wanted to own something that has that Beetronics flavor, it's going to cost you relatively little to do that now. I see this as a benefit for both Beetronics and the players. For Beetronics, it gets new customers on their books, which might interest them in getting further Beetronics pedals once they get, first one for free or cheaper in this case. For the player, who doesn't want a weird and wacky, great sounding fuzz on their board? Nobody. Or if you don't, let me know in the comments. Feel free. I hate fuzz. Yeah, whatever. Move along. Sorry. Having played this, in fact, I've got it here somewhere. Where is it? I was going to lend it to my friend Steve. Steve, did you take it? Steve's not here. I'll get it. I got it. Right. Having played this, there are some downsides to a one-knob fuzz that might not be immediately obvious to everybody. As you turn the knob up, it gets seriously loud and obviously fuzzy. But to battle that, you can just back off the volume on your guitar to clean stuff up, which, if you're a fuzz pedal freak like me, you don't need to worry about this at all, and you can have some serious fun for under 100 notes. This Tuna Fuzz, which is not a tuner, should also introduce a lot of people to Beetronics, and if you've ever wanted one of their pedals, but they are quite pricey because they're a boutique brand, this is a great introduction. I'm going to hold it again. It's not nearly as wild sounding and wacky as the rest of their collection, but it makes up for that in looks. Great pedal.
Andy's Pick of the Week.
Just a few weeks after releasing the La Grotte Reverb with Anasounds, Jack White's Third Man Hardware and Fender have given us not one, not two, but 3 signature releases. In order of how excited about them I am, there's the Triple Sonic, which is the Acoustasonic, the Panoverb amplifier, and the Triple Caster Telly. Now, before I go any further, all of these items are expensive, and we can talk about that afterwards, but let's just have a look at what they are. The Triple Sonic is a sort of country-inspired noir Acoustasonic. There's a maple neck and a maple fingerboard and an older body with a solid spruce top. I think it looks great. I love the 3 dots on the fretboard. That's a lovely little addition, but I don't think it's the standout product here. So that's as far as I'm going to go with it, apart from saying that it's 2,500 notes. Told you it was expensive. I can't actually decide if I'm more excited about the amp or the electric guitar, so ignore the order of these two, but the Triple Caster makes me feel all fizzy inside. It's got a soft V neck shape and a 12-inch radius maple fretboard, which for players like me is just a dream come true. There's a 3-way pickup switch and a direct to jack switch. Not jack, the output jack. Make that into a joke yourself. And there's a kill switch as well, the arcade button. I think I could get away with that. It's also got a hipshot extender drop D on the E string, so you can just flick it and you're in drop D on 1 finger territory. And as for the pickups, here we go. We've got the Jack White Cunafé wide range humbucker in the neck, the JW90 single coil in the middle, and a Jack White humbucker in the bridge. And put them all together, they look so weird and wacky, but it's a very versatile sounding in my head combination. I've played one of Jack's guitars, and I can tell you that not only did it feel amazing and it sounded glorious, it was one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever laid my eyes on. And I understand why they've gone with black on this Triple Caster, but I would love to see a version in sparkle blue. And I'm a little bit disappointed that the blue is not available yet, or maybe ever. The things that makes this guitar stand out as well is the blue inlays and the little armrest and the sort of almost, it might be bleached, I don't know, but the really white maple fretboard. I think it just looks stunning. And of course, there's the headstock. But let's go back to the price. It is high at 3,500 notes, but this is a Telly like no other, dare I say, and I love that it's so Jack White, and Fender have just seemed to given him the reins to create whatever he wants, rather than just slap his name on any old guitar and try and sell that for $2,000. And then there's the amp, the Panoverb, so called because it's stereo, 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 stereo. And if you listen to the demo, it could make you feel a little bit seasick. It did me. This Panoverb combines elements of the Vibraverb and the Vibrasonic and the Vibro King amps. There are 2 Jensen speakers in there, so you've got stereo. One 10-inch, I think it's the top one, and one 15-inch, powered by 2 6L6s and 2 6V6s. Really good news is this amp has harmonic tremolo, great to see in a Fender amp, and it can function in either stereo or mono. And in combination, those 2 speakers gives you 70 watts of amplification power. It's also got to be the best looking Fender amp I've seen in ages, and that will surely divide people, but I love it. So some of you are going to hate it. It's fine. What I will say is, though, even if you're not into Jack White, this is a big step for Fender, as they've been accused of not being innovative for a while. However, this Panoverb is brand new and it serves a new function, and I truly, truly dig it. I dig it so much that it even makes me think that it's worth the 3,000 notes that it costs. Eek! And I am actually vibrating inside, thinking of trying this out at NAMM in January. And I can just imagine myself going into the hall and then running to Third Man Hardware or to Fender, wherever it will be, and joining the queue of people that will want to play it. I'll put links to all these 3 jack white bits of gear underneath the video, but know that it's not available until around January of next year. Actually, some have said November this year and some have said December of this year, so who knows? I think this all is genuinely exciting for the guitar world, and I know these prices are high, but as for that triple caster, I might try and build my own, because it sounds like a fun project. I don't know where I get the pickups from. I'm sure someone out there would know some sort of equivalent. Oh, and by the way, if any guitar brands are watching this, this is how you do a signature release. You listen to the artist and let them do whatever the hell they want. Done. Thank you to the wonderful people that support this show on Patreon. Their names are up on the screen right now. Hello, everybody. And these people that are up on screen right now support the show on YouTube. Hello, and thank you very much. If you would like your name over my face, then click the join button right here on YouTube or visit my Patreon link in the video description. And if you want your name read out like these people, then just give more money. Here's a special thanks to the top tier members. Alinta Boston, April Hughes, Buddha Blue, Boom Shakalaka, Buzzle, Dirk, Doug Paget, Hugh G. Rection, Johnny McBadminton, Michael Lerner, Pop's Place. This prank is officially sponsored by Jason Welch, Andrew Morgan, Dustin Bonney, Gary O'Neill, Josh Tamberg, PQ Deads, Robin Kelly, and Sarang Narayan. Thank you, top tier members. Right, there are links to all this gear in the first comment and in the video description. But remember, you don't need any of this gear to sound good, but who am I to decide that for you? I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!